Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's live coverage brought to you and powered by Detailed Electrical. We are looking at an upper level trough followed by a cold front that's going to be working its way through the area tomorrow. So we're going to start seeing some of those storms fire off out ahead of that cold front as that trough is working its way through the area. But the big picture is going to happen roughly between 6 to 10 p.m., where we can really start seeing that enhanced severe risk. We are currently, right now, under a, let me turn off this model running here. We are currently under an enhanced risk of severe weather for tomorrow. Now, what does that mean? So, as that upper level trough is going to continue advancing steadily eastward across the eastern half of the United States. So it's going to reach the Atlantic coast overnight. Accompanying this system is the cold front behind that system. So that cold front is going to be sitting somewhere back in this area by that time. So we're going to start seeing some of them storms pop off and fire off out ahead of that cold front there as it advances to the east throughout the day. Now, instability is going to become a factor here as we start looking the further south we go. And that's why you're seeing this area of enhanced risk of severe weather. And that can bring along with it damaging winds, pretty decent sized hail, and the threat for a tornado or two. Now, I believe that as we get into this a little bit deeper, I believe that if we're going to see that tornado risk, it's going to be more centralized in that eastern portion of Georgia, maybe the southern portion here, the low country of South Carolina. But we definitely can't rule out the threat of a tornado in the inland portions of South Carolina as well. As we get a little bit closer to the coast, I think that threat kind of diminishes a little bit right here along the coast. But definitely in this area here, we could see that uptick threat as we go through the afternoon and into the evening hours for that chance of tornado activity as well. So tornadoes, very low risk, but not zero. So we're going to be paying close attention. Please make sure you have a way to receive warnings, multiple ways to receive warnings. That can be your cell phone, watching local broadcast television. The National Weather Service have a weather radio handy, and as always, we will be live throughout the entire event, sharing any kind of warnings or anything at all. Just looking here, I am watching our radar feed here as we go through the afternoon here, and they just issued a tornado warning in, let's see what counties are affected by that. We are looking at Baldwin, Alabama, and Escambia, Florida. So they're right on the panhandle. I've got that up here on the live radar feed. We will pull up the velocity here on that and just take a peek at that here as we are watching these areas today for tornadoes and severe weather. So again, tornado warning issued for Escambia, Florida, and what was that, Baldwin? If I can get this to pop up here for me. There we go. Baldwin, Alabama, and Escambia, Florida. So they're in the panhandle of Florida. So we're going to continue to watch that here as the moments go by here. But definitely want to be in your safe place if you're in any of those areas right now. So we're going to watch that for you as well. We'll move on here with our presentation here for the actual storm coverage for our area. Now, as we get into tomorrow, I'm going to back this up here and we're going to start talking a little bit about timing. So we're going to move in here to the Myrtle Beach area here and back this up. We're going to go to about 9 a.m. tomorrow. So as you can see here, at about 8 a.m., we've got a pretty well-defined area of severe weather working its way through the Knoxville, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Birmingham, Alabama, those areas, pretty well linear at this point here. This is going to be a pretty decent squall line working through, and eventually, as we hit the Appalachian Mountains, you can kind of see this wanting to kind of fall apart here. However, our major risk from this particular line of storms is going to be coming from this section, this squall line of storms right here. That's going to work in through our area in the evening hours tomorrow. So as we watch this and track this through, turn off the drawing there. As we track that through into the evening hours here we are out at 6 p.m. You've got Orangeburg, Columbia, and those areas all affected by that squall line working its way in. And then as we get to about 8 p.m., we are now in the vicinity of the Grand Strand and parts inward here, or inland from the beach here, and that includes areas like Carolina Forest and so on here, Conway. As you can see here, models are indicating a little bit of what could be hail included in this, so the hail risk is definitely there, and we'll go over what those risks are here in a few minutes. But as we bring this through, you can see here by 9 p.m. we've got what could be significant amount of storms here, which can bring our main threat, which is going to be damaging winds. We will see heavy rains from this as well, but overall, this will be pretty fast moving. So any kind of rain that we see is not going to make a dent in our drought or for the wildfires, unfortunately. I wish we could be seeing a slower moving system here that's going to be dumping a lot of rain, but that's just not going to be the case for tomorrow. Now, timing is still going to be a factor, and confidence is still very low on the timing here of this system. Now, if we can, the worst case scenario, we are in what is called the warm sector of this system here. So if we pull up here, temperatures, as you can see, that warm sector is pretty robust. I mean, it's pretty large. This is going all the way. This warm sector goes and stretches all the way up into portions of southern Pennsylvania, even getting up into the New York area. Not quite as warm, but definitely included in that. So the severe risk runs the whole way up the East Coast, all the way down to portions like Panama City, Jacksonville Beach, and even down into Florida, Tampa, those areas as well. So very large, robust, warm sector here out ahead of this cold front that's going to be approaching. And that's going to give us our storm fuel here. And as we move through the warmest portions of the day here, out to that 5-6 p.m., that's when we're going to start seeing that line of storms start working up through Columbia, Charleston, and eventually into our area by 8 p.m., where we're still seeing temperatures, let's see here, in the 70s. And then you can see the moisture here. I don't know if you've been outside today at all, but definitely very, very moist in the atmosphere right now. And that's setting the stage here for tomorrow for our severe weather threat. So we're increasing moisture and bringing all those ingredients with low level shear and instability in the air. That's all coming together here to create that series of severe events here for tomorrow. As we go throughout the day, here's 6 a.m. Our dew points are at 60s and increasing for the day out ahead of that front. And eventually by 7-8 p.m., we're still dew points in the 60s and close to 70 as you get down towards Charleston and along the coast. We're closer to 70 there. By 8 p.m., dew points still in the 60s, temps in the 70s out ahead of that. So we're definitely mixing here for some good severe weather risk here as well. So the threat is there. It's definitely not zero. We are at an enhanced level of risk here for tomorrow, but we're going to be keeping a very close eye on things as we go throughout the day. But like I said, as always, we will be live throughout the entire event and let you guys know what's going on at all times. Now I'm going to pull up and see if I can get out with that latest run here of the HRRR. doesn't want to load for me here. Let's let that one load out. So we're not going to get quite out to where we want to be. This is the only downside to being still a day away with these high resolution models. The most recent runs aren't going to get us out to exactly where we want to be. So we're going to continue to monitor that with the model runs. But a lot of what's going to happen tomorrow is going to be indicated by how well and tight this and powerful this squall line that is over Tennessee and Alabama and Georgia, how well that stays together, and how much it falls apart coming across the Appalachian Mountains, especially for those of you up in the northeast portions of the United States, the Philadelphia, Washington, New York area. You know, and then for us, what exactly happens with this area here is going to be a determining factor, as if these storms can stay together as they work them through, which is what the HRRR is showing. It does show a little bit of it falling apart, but not very much here. So, and then by the time we get into the warmest times of the day, those storms should be able to get into a little bit more unstable air, and that destabilization is going to take place throughout the day as that warm air moves in, and we can get some sunshine. We're going to be mostly cloudy tomorrow, but there will be peaks of sunshine. How much sunshine can influence the amount of instability we have here to produce those more severe storms. Now, this is going to be, I agree, I believe for our area, more of an isolated severe event here. If you look in here at 8 p.m., we do see this, what could be a supercell here, working into our area. And there's lots of different things that we can look at. But as far as our CAPE goes, this is our instability in the air. So we're going to be up there close to that 1,000 joules per kilogram, which is enough to produce severe thunderstorms for us here in that unstable air. So definitely can't rule that out completely. However, I do believe that if we do see any kind of tornado risk, it's going to be more so down in this area. As we go through the day, you can see here the supercell composite here has a lot more of that supercellular activity showing up down here around parts of Savannah, even stretching into Jessup, Baxley, those portions of Georgia. And so, you know, you know, we do see down here into Beaufort and Kiowa Island, even into parts of Latson. There is a little bit of a greater risk of supercells down in there, as well as out here in the western portions of the state as that cold front's working through. We can still see some storms and supercells pop off out ahead of that boundary there. So sometimes these storms want to attach to the boundary and create severe weather as well. So as far as our severe threat goes, here I say by 10-11 p.m. The majority of the severe threat is out of here, and we are all clear. But we can't rule out the fact that we could see a lingering storm attached to that boundary as that cold front works through our area. Now, when we look at the significant tornado parameters, this is where I'm saying if we do see that tornado risk, that elevated tornado risk, most likely going to be down in this area. But you can't rule out that tornado risk here within our viewing area, and even up in here along the border belt, up into parts of Dillon, there's some chances there. But I think really the increased risk here, the further south you go, the more instability, the more wind shear that we're going to see, and that's going to be factors for the actual tornado risk as we go throughout the day, and through the overnight hours. So definitely you want to be making sure that you have ways to receive warnings tomorrow as we go throughout the day, but definitely overall not a widespread severe event for us like what we're seeing in the Midwest and Dixie Alley portions of the country today. We are still watching that tornado warning that is in for Baldwin, Alabama, Escambia, Florida. We're still watching that. So that is still active for at least, let's see, when does that expire? Another 15 minutes at least right now. So definitely watching that tornado warning as well on our live radar feed that is at the bottom of the screen here. So now let's take a peek at some models here as we go throughout the afternoon. So this is what we're looking at here. Here's our trough that is extending down. Now, normally, you know, what we're seeing this time of year is going to be these real deep troughs that are really robust, okay? This is not so much the case here with this. What we're dealing with a lot on this is a lot of these little short waves that are producing these severe thunderstorms and tornado risk, along with the winds, the wind shear moving as it goes up throughout the atmosphere. So that's producing a lot of these storms that we're seeing here today. This trough will eventually shift and move across, and the center of low pressure is actually going to be way up here over portions of New England and Canada. Okay, so we're going to be extended down here pretty far from the actual center of low pressure, but we're going to have enough wind shear and moisture being pulled off the Atlantic to be able to produce that severe risk here for us as well. But we're still pretty far extended. I think a lot of the wind damage threat is going to be up here for portions like Pennsylvania, New York, those areas. And as we go through the 700 millibar, this is, let's go out to Monday evening. This will be about 8 p.m. You can see this 49 knot winds here. This is upper level winds. And if we compare that to the 850 millibar, this is only a couple thousand feet off the ground. We're still looking at some pretty decent wind shear here, 44 knots in the lower levels. So that's where we're getting that tornado risk. Like I said, if you look down here over portions of Georgia, eastern Georgia, that's where I think we see that ramp up of that tornado threat. As we're looking at 53 knot winds just off the surface, and they change direction as they go up in the atmosphere here, which creates that rotation in the atmosphere to be able to produce those tornadoes. So definitely can't rule out the fact that we could see the possibility of some tornadoes here, mainly inland. I'd say slightly west of 95 and slightly east of 95 is going to be the hot zone for any type of tornado development, as well as up here into portions of North Carolina off the coast as well. So further inland in North Carolina, and then up into, you couldn't rule out seeing the possibility of some tornadoes even extending up into portions of Virginia as well. And that is reflected here if we go into our severe weather here. That is reflected on the, let me get rid of this, let me get rid of the models here so we can get a little bit closer here. There we go. So that is reflected all the way up into portions of Virginia as well. So Richland, Charlottesville, even a 5% chance of tornadoes up into the stretching up into the Washington area. And they do have that 2% risk extending all the way up into portions like Utica, New York, Albany, Syracuse, Binghamton. Those areas could definitely see the possibility of a tornado as well. But I do believe that the main risk for this area of the country is going to be the damaging winds. I don't think the tornado risk is as big as what we're going to be seeing here. And I think that centralized portions of Georgia, eastern Georgia, and even including the low country of South Carolina is going to be the highest risk there of tornadoes as we go throughout the day and into the evening hours tomorrow. Now, like I said before, do not rule out the chance that we could see a tornado or two in this portion of South Carolina just off the coast and inland. That includes areas like Carolina Forest as well. Can't rule it out. But definitely want to make sure you have a way to receive warnings and stay on top of what's going on. Like I said before, we will be live all day throughout the entire event as things start unfolding. We will be live. Now, looking at wind, we do see that 30% chance of wind damage here, excessive damaging winds here. That covers 30 million people are under that excessive wind, that 30%. And then those winds extend also up into Pennsylvania with 15% chance, and then even up into New York with that 5% chance of damaging winds. As far as hail goes, hail, we are in that 15% chance of hail here, and that is hail in excess of 1 inch even. So we could definitely see the potential for hail, and some of those model runs are showing that hail within those supercells, especially that one that around 8 p.m. the models are hinting on a pretty powerful storm system pretty powerful storm working in towards the Conway, Carolina forest area around 8 p.m., which could pack some hail here. So we might have the opportunity to see some hail tomorrow. So make sure you have ways to protect yourself from that as well. So definitely can't rule out that hail opportunity as well. So overall, definitely need to make sure that you stay aware tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a weather aware day here for us here. Stay aware day for the Myrtle Beach area. If I can get this to go away, that would be wonderful. That's all right. It will be a stay aware day for tomorrow. So we are looking at a pretty enhanced risk of severe weather. So definitely don't let your guard down as we go throughout the day. I do want to show you one model. There's a lot of so much cool stuff that we can view here with when it comes to what's going on with the models here. If I can get into it here, I think I need to zoom in a little bit more to be able to pull this up, because I am pretty far out there. So let's see. Surface. Here's the lightning flash density, and this is going to be out towards that 8 p.m. time frame here. You can see this is going to show where supercells could be producing lightning, significant lightning. So that supercell that looks to be working through that Conway, Carolina forest area could be producing some pretty significant lightning as it works into our area here. So this is going to be right around 8 p.m. And that storm works its way up through. So we could see the potential. Here's a bunch of supercells that could be forming further south of us here, down towards the Charleston, Moncks Corner area, and then eventually up into our area, where we could see the potential for a pretty significant severe storm here associated with that line of storms out ahead of the actual cold front. So the actual cold front's going to be back in this portion of the state here, out towards the western portions at this time, and then eventually in the overnight hours that cold front moves out and off the coast. So definitely want to have a way to receive warnings. I can't stress that enough. If we compare that lightning density to that actual storm, here's where we are, and this is where I'm showing that hail threat here embedded into that supercell there. As these models will change as we go through the next 24 hours before we get into tomorrow evening, but we will discuss that live as our live stream is running tomorrow throughout the day. So as things change, I will make posts. I will keep you guys aware of what's going on within the weather world here as we move through the day. But please stick with me here. This is going to change probably again, even over the next couple hours. We're probably going to see some changes occurring here with this, but we will, excuse me, we will have our radar feed live directly after we end this here today. So that way you guys can stay aware of what's going on in portions of the rest of the country, and that extends all the way from the Ohio Valley all the way down into portions of the deep south here today. So we're going to be our radar feed is going to be bouncing all around to these tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings throughout the evening here tonight. And we could take a look at today's categorical outlook here. You can see that enhanced risk here extending all the way from Detroit down to Jackson, Mississippi, even into Tyler, Texas, Shreveport, Louisiana. Those areas are all included in that enhanced risk. And you can see here we've got that tornado warning on the radar feed still in play here. Expires in 5 minutes for Baldwin, Alabama, and Escambia, Florida will expire here in 5 minutes. And that's down in the Panhandle, right in this area here. So and that is within the marginal risk of severe weather here today. So definitely don't let your guard down just because you're not in this brown portion here, this enhanced risk portion. These tornadoes can happen anywhere within these areas. And if we look at for today, the tornado threat here extending down into where that tornado warning is now. So that is under the 2% range. Now this is the 10% hatched tornado area here. So we believe the majority of the tornado outbreak, if we do have an outbreak today, is going to occur within this area here. So that's what we're going to be watching very closely here on our radar feed as we go throughout the evening. But then we eventually, by tomorrow, we run into our area here with that 10% tornado risk. We will be watching this main area as much as possible, keeping the Grand Strand aware of what's going on with this system as it moves across. So early afternoon, probably be live with the radar feed, but we will have posts throughout the day as to what is going on directly ahead of this system as it starts working into our area. So stay aware, stay with us, and we will be back with live updates and back with the live stream pretty much all day tomorrow. Probably from, I'd say, early mid-morning to throughout the overnight hours and into the overnight hours we'll be live. So stick with us and check in often to our social media. Please head over to our YouTube page and subscribe and hit that bell button so you get notifications when we do go live, as we will be live tomorrow, either chasing or doing the live radar coverage here. So these evening storms get a little bit hard to chase sometimes, but we will do our best to bring you coverage and get you the information that you need. So stay tuned, and we will be here for you to keep you guys aware and keep you safe.